Welcome to Enlightened Evolution.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Christina.
We're here to discuss the ebb and flow of our soul's healing and transformation through self-reflection, choosing intentionally, honoring thyself, and following your inner guide.
Thank you for joining this safe space with us.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Enlightened Evolution with Kay and Christina. We hope you are doing well this week. We have another Am I the Asshole episode. I think this is our fourth one. I just love these. And I was going to ask you, do you think people after they post these on Reddit, do you think after they get a consensus, they go back to the person, they're like, look, I'm not an asshole?
I do know that there's some updates. I love when they're updated.
Yeah. All right. Kay is going to pull an oracle for us today.
Okay. What I popped out is growth.
Love it.
I love that too. A time of evolution and growth is here. You may be leaving behind outdated and antiquated relationships, mentors, belief systems, situations, or environments. If you are inquiring about a situation or relationship, this card calls for a deeper commitment or decision to let go in order to honor your journey. Draw another card for clarity about which direction to take regarding your situation. This card represents knowing that all will be well and for the highest good. The spiral symbol is one of the oldest designs to appear throughout the ages, even as far back as prehistoric times. It's a symbol of growth and evolution. It's represents the cycle and journey of mankind. And I think about the imperfect golden ratio. It's one of my favorite symbols. It's like anything,
the spiral inside of a shell.
That is an example of it. Flowers are an example of it. The human face is an example. Like architects,
there's so many
thousands of years.
Yeah, that's
like
awesome.
That one.
Me too. Do you want to start us off, or do you want me to?
Sure, I will go ahead and do that. So this one isn't necessarily am I the asshole, but it could have been worded that way. It's I, 22 female, think I should tell my 24 male boyfriend something I've kept from him for 6 months. My boyfriend and I have been together for about a year and a half now, living together for a month. We so far have a wonderful relationship. We have virtually no issues with communication, especially about the bigger and deeper topics and seeing the other side of things and disagreements. I am so deeply in love with this man, and he absolutely makes me feel more cared for than I ever had before. I really do see myself marrying this man. I will say I am far from the perfect girlfriend, but I do try my best. I have my own issues with trust and suspicion, as my ex was a pretty shitty dude. He would regularly cheat emotionally and physically, hit me, and emotionally abuse me. While I have worked on knowing my worth and other issues arose from that relationship, I have been struggling with being able to trust in this new relationship. I do try to keep the thought of if they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat, but that can be especially hard at times, and the untrusting part of my brain turns on, and I have given in to that at times. Most of the time, I will talk to my boyfriend about these thoughts and ask him for a bit of extra reassurance through my thoughts. A few months ago, I was having one of these doubtful thoughts, and I was over at his apartment at the time. He lived with roommates and was playing Smash with them while I was alone in his bed. His phone was charging and his on his nightstand, and I let my thoughts get the best of me. I went through his phone and found some saved messages from his ex. These messages were sent before we had ever met, and they included nude pictures of her and some sexual conversations between them. Before I could calm, I lost my spot. Before I could calm myself enough to deal with this situation in a mature way, I blocked her. Now we are months down the road, and every now and then, when we're sitting in silence or when I'm just going about my day, I feel bad about doing this without telling him. He did openly give me his passcode and said he wouldn't care if I went through his phone. I know it's an invasion of privacy, and I know I shouldn't have done it in the first place. I'm going to therapy to get help working through these issues, and I brought from my past relationship, and I know it's not fair to feel these feelings toward him when he hasn't given me a reason to. I'm seeking advice on how to tell him that I did this. I don't know if it would be kosher for us to move our relationship to the next level if I can't admit that I did this. How do I go about this? Please help. All advice welcome and thank you.
From our last episode, is this one of those secrets that you just keep to yourself?
You want to know what I said in my petty state? Before you tell him, make sure he didn't unblock her.
Oh.
I know
See,
that's not
we've
a
been
very
through it. We know too many.
and this poor girl's 22 years old. So being over 10 years
Oh.
older than her, I think she's doing really good for herself. And I think she's being really
Yeah.
hard on herself. She's going to therapy. She understands that the reason she's behaving like this is because of her past traumas. She openly admitted that. And she also said that this man treats her very good. But sometimes we all get these intrusive thoughts. She acted on them. And I want to ask, how would you feel if you went through your husband's phone and saw messages from his ex? It wasn't from a time you guys were even together, and he saved he never deleted the messages. And I don't know if it's normal for everybody to do like declutter your electronically, but why do you have such explicit photos of another person saved? If you truly cared about that other person in your past, like if you're just a person of integrity, why is there still nudes of this person in your phone, for one? Or do God?
Yeah,
I
but I
know.
think
I don't know.
if they were sent over text message, he might not have been thinking, "Oh, there's nudes in there." She probably scrolled back a ways and found all these
Hmm.
things. I don't think guys think, "Oh, I got to go delete that conversation." If they're no longer having it, and that's the thing, they hadn't been talking since her and this guy were together. It's not an issue. And really, what's the point of blocking that person if they're already not talking to them, you know?
Oh, I don't think that she was right for
Mhm.
blocking that person.
I wouldn't be upset if I had found those things because if they weren't during our current relationship,
Do you go back?
I would assume that he just forgot to delete them.
Yeah. Do you delete
I,
past messages?
I may have if I didn't
Just
do
like
it right when that relationship ended.
in
I'm
general.
not I'm
Yeah.
not really in the habit of deleting conversations.
Yeah.
So you might be able to scroll way back years and find old conversations. I don't know. Do you
Yeah.
delete them?
I do in a way to clean up my
Mhm.
pictures and my messages, but not in a way of, oh, I never want to see his name on my phone again. It really don't bother me to see your name on my
Mhm.
phone. It just,
I definitely delete old pictures that are in my
hmm.
photos, but old messages, I don't know that I have or haven't. I
Do
don't
you
know.
think that she should
But
tell him that she
it
did it?
sounds like, I mean, he gave her the passcode. He told her he was okay with going through it. I think
True.
he would be open to hearing her. It sounds like she can tell him, "Hey, I realized that this was inappropriate and I want to do better in the future." It sounds like they're both pretty mature for 22 and however old
Mm-hmm.
he is. So
24,
I think
yeah.
she should. What do you think?
I think that she already has a lot of self-awareness. And how would the conversation
Help.
with him make their relationship better?
True. It's probably not. It's going to probably add tension to the relationship.
Hmm. Because especially if this was a person that she knew that he dated, like he didn't lie about anything. And like you said, he gave her the passcode. So you gave her open access to your phone. And who knows if there was a conversation of I really don't want my privacy breached, but this is just for so you feel safe. So you know,
Yeah.
So if you knew that he dated this person and you have the passcode, I guess, I don't know.
She didn't really do anything
Yeah, you're
too
already in
wrong,
therapy,
just that she
girl.
blocked her.
Yeah, yes. Because if he does want to be a cheater, that is his right, and he can go back and talk to her again. You
That is
know?
his right?
Yeah, I mean, people are allowed to be whoever they want to be. It doesn't mean that you need to keep inviting them into your life, but if that's who he wants to
Right.
be, then if she, if he wants to reach out to that girl again, for whatever reason, what if anything could happen? I mean, I don't know. People reach out to their exes all the time? Like sometimes people do. It doesn't mean that you need to stay with them or that's appropriate for them, but you can't, like constantly put
You can't
blocks
control the
up.
outcome. Yeah.
Yeah,
You,
yeah, like
that she would have benefited from the let them theory of
mhm.
if he's going to, like she said, if they're going to, they're going to. That is a hard pill to swallow. But that's something, I mean, because I mean, we've all been cheated on. And that's something I've really tried to embrace as well, is like, if they're going to, they're going to. And it's going to come to me in broad daylight. And if it does, I'll deal with it then.
Yeah, it's exhausting. I just think about the crazy people I've dated in the past. They must have been exhausted trying to figure out what I'm doing all the time when I'm just laying in my bed.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? So,
Making up scenarios.
yeah, girl. What one what next one do you have?
Okay, mine's kind of brief. Am I the asshole for being angry my tax refund paid off my husband's child support? My husband and I filed our taxes jointly this year for the past 2 years. I was completely unaware he had $7,000 in unpaid child support. I thought he was making regular payments. We were expecting a refund, but only $175 was deposited. I feel blindsided, violated, and taken advantage of. When I brought this up, he dismissed my feelings and told me I should be grateful the child support is now paid off because it means he can contribute more money each month. That logic doesn't make sense to me. His child is still under 18, so he still has ongoing payments regardless. I feel physically ill. He is not supportive of how I'm feeling whatsoever and is actually angry at me for how I'm responding. What are your thoughts?
Well, coming from someone being a single mom where I've received tax returns of my kid's dad, I'm happy for the single mom over there that finally
Oh,
received her child
certainly.
support. However, shame on him for being deceitful to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he makes me sick. Actually, like, I don't know. Is that considered like financial infidelity? Lying like that?
I would say so. Yeah. And I mean, we don't know if they've had previous conversations, like if they blatantly had the conversation of, do you owe child support? She said she believed he was up to date on it. So I got
Mhm.
to assume that they've had that conversation. Like, there's lying by omission and then there's like blatant lying. But still, the fact that he's not supportive of how upset she has every right to be upset.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what he said, like, you should be glad it's taken care of. I can contribute more. That's not true. You obviously have been contributing as much as you can, considering you haven't been making your payments, and your payments don't stop just because you're caught up.
And that's my other thought is, why is he backed? Is this from way, way back? Or has he not been making his payments when she thought he was? And where's this money going to if he's not
Mhm.
contributing it?
Right. So many
She's
questions.
definitely not the asshole.
No. See, this is why, like, I hear about things in marriages and relationships, and I'm like, "Oh gosh, yeah. I'd be divorced like 10 times if I would have married everybody I thought I was gonna marry, and then they did some shit like this." You know what I'm saying? Like, absolutely
Uh-huh.
not.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Poor girl. I'm sure she had plans, with that money.
Yeah. You expect you're getting all this money back and then nothing?
I remember before I was a nurse when I'd get back like 10 grand. now I owe. But anyways, I'm better about it. I remember my daughter's dad, which I didn't tell him how much money I got back. He didn't even know. I think I got a tax return. We weren't married. I took care of all the bills. I took care of I worked. He was just doing whatever he wanted to do day in and day out when she was 1. And he found out months later that I got this money back and literally cried and talked about how much of a liar I was and how could I have been asking him for money to pay for things when I had all this money. 10 grand ain't a lot of money for one.
No.
And for two, you don't think that you should be responsible for half of anything, at bare minimum half, just because I got a little bit of extra money on a tax return? Just the thought process of what's that one lady call them? Dusties?
Dusty, musty, crusty.
Oh yeah, that's what the kids say. Dusty, musty, crusty. Yeah, they keep going on and on and on and on and on. That's funny.
Yeah. I saw a meme the other day. I meant to send it to you, and it was so funny. It was has TLC, what was it? Oh gosh. Has TLC loosened their policy on scrubs? And TLC responded and was like, no.
Oh, I love that. That's so funny that you mentioned that. Kyla and her friend were literally listening to all that era of music. What was it, 90s to early 2000s? And that song popped up and they were both singing it. And I was so proud. This was the day before
Yes.
yesterday.
That's amazing.
I know.
I mean, TLC was my shit back in the day.
It was. It still is.
I went to their concert before Left Eye
Did
died.
you?
I feel
Oh,
yeah. I feel so
that's
thankful for that.
awesome. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I was a little kid.
Yeah.
All right, what
Okay.
else do you got for us?
My 24 male girlfriend, 23 female, admitted she lied to me about her political views when we started dating, but that being with me made her change her opinions. What should we do going forward? I'm a liberal guy, and I also assumed she was liberal when we started dating because anytime something got brought up, she would just agree with my thoughts on it. We've been dating for about 4 months, and I assumed everything has been great. But last night, when we went out drinking, she started confessing to it all. It threw me for a loop at first, and I thought she was making a weird joke initially, but when it came clear that she was it came clear that she was dead serious. She went through this long list of things she lied to me about and that she felt guilty for hiding from me, like that she was really anti-abortion, she was homophobic, she was very pro-Trump, etc., which is all of a full 180 from how she'd been to me this whole time we were dating. And she told me that she wanted to date me, but that she thought I wouldn't date her if I knew she was really conservative, which, yes, I wouldn't have because I think my beliefs aren't so frivolous that I want to share a life with someone who I'd be completely on completely different pages with. And of all this, she told me that she actually started to question her own beliefs this whole time, and that she found herself eventually agreeing with me on most things, and that a lot of her former views were shaped by her family and not having exposure to other views. We avoided addressing it today, and I really just don't even know what to say to her at the moment. I'm angry that she was lying to me this whole time. I also sort of want to break up. It's good for her that she thinks I helped her change her mind on stuff, but I feel betrayed. At the same time, I'm conflicted. I really did like the person I thought I was dating. And I guess, in a sense, she has become that person now. But I don't know if we can even resolve all that bullshit at the start. I've never dated anyone before, and I just have no concept of how anyone could resolve something like this. How far is too far in a relationship before it breaks? And how do I know?
Did he say how old he was? Because it says he's never dated anyone before.
Yeah, he's 24.
Oh, that's interesting. I have so many feelings. At first, halfway through, I was like, break up. But then the part where she's like, okay, well, my views have changed. I don't know, because it's like you lied to me about everything. But we did just say in our last episode, people pleasing. That's what she was doing. She was people pleasing
That's
to
what I was
date
going to
him.
say. Yeah.
And then she came to the realization and she wanted to bring it up to him. I mean, I think if she truly has changed her views, then there's room to have a chance at making it work. But if you have different political views, it's not going to work.
No,
What do you think?
not on that. It sucks that she lied about it.
Yeah.
However, it's huge that she admitted it. And I think it's kind of endearing that she's like, I was raised this way to be so hateful of other people based on X, Y, and Z. And meeting you has opened my eyes to
Yeah.
accepting and loving people in a way that isn't such this, rigid conservative system that I grew up in. I think that's beautiful. However, a lot of things are ingrained in us, and depending on what it is, like, it could be a struggle. I don't know, I think it's kinda you're gonna have kids with this person, you're gonna marry this person, their family's gonna be a part of your family. Do you want your child going into a home with people that are homophobic? It's gonna kinda she's gonna have parents, that like, was she open about her parents being super conservative? Like, maybe not.
Right.
I don't know. So, I guess, like, you gotta think about the bigger picture.
Yeah. And those are like, then you have a conversation on, okay, say we have the same views now, but what do you think about exposing future children to your parents who are homophobic and whatever else they might be? Like, would you be okay with limiting exposure, maybe spending limited time with them, expressing to them boundaries of like, hey, I don't want you to
Mhm.
impose your views on our children? Because then you really have, and again, it's like, how do I trust this person? Because maybe they're going to tell me yes now to people please me, but maybe they don't actually mean that and they're not going to actually put that into place.
Yeah. And maybe that's hard because, like, imagine their child grows up and is beginning puberty, and all of a sudden they've realized that they're gay and they wanna date the same sex, and the mom's like, "Oh, no, you're not. That's, a sin," and
Right.
you're shaming your kid for it. And then you're on the other hand like, "I love you and I accept you for who you are." Like, you want a partner that's gonna be on the same page with raising children, and so if they truly love this person and they find it, you know, really sweet that they change their point of view, I would come up with a bunch of hypothetical questions to ask them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It opens a can of worms for sure.
Mhm.
I think there's a possibility of making it work, but deeper conversations have to be had. And she has to recognize when she's people pleasing and learn to be more honest.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay. This next one it's interesting. Am I the asshole for considering divorce because my husband said I'm replaceable?
Mm.
I am a 32-year-old female. My husband is a 36-year-old male. We have been together for 7 years, or married for 7 years, together for 10. I fell in love with him at first sight, but it took a while to develop feelings. Eventually, we got married, and overall, we have a happy marriage. 2 days ago, I was scrolling through Instagram and came through past a video saying, "Who comes first, your mom, your wife, or your daughter?" I was curious and checked the comments, and I saw my husband's. He wrote, "Of course, my mom comes first because she raised me.
Oh.
Then my daughter because yeah. Then my daughter because she's my child. Then my wife because you can't replace your mom and your child." So implying that you can replace your wife. It felt like a knife in my heart. This is the man I've given years of my life to, my love, my effort. He sees and he sees me as the replaceable one. I couldn't stomach it. I brought it up and turned it into a heated argument. At one point, he said, "Mothers are unique. You either have one or you don't. Wives can be replaced." So I said, then maybe it's time for a change, and I left. Now I'm seriously considering divorce. I've scheduled a meeting with a lawyer. He's been calling me nonstop, saying I'm overreacting and taking it too far. What are your thoughts?
Sign them papers, girl.
It ain't nothing to cut that bitch.
What? I wish I had more details. I don't have more details, so I guess I can't go off hypothetical things. But
I mean, he
how?
stood 10 toes down on it.
Yes, he did, and he didn't even try. He didn't. There wasn't a mention of him empathizing with how his perspective hurt her feelings. And none of them are replaceable. Nobody is replaceable.
No.
You certainly can go find another wife. I hope you don't, sir, based on your comments. And,
Right.
you know, husbands are equally replaceable. So I don't know what don't even trip, girl. Sign them papers, get on with it. He obviously has showed you how he felt, not just you, but Instagram. He posted this publicly
Mhm.
for other people to see. So it's not just you being hurt in the privacy of your home. It's everybody knows. And you don't want, and I bet this isn't the first thing that he's ever made you feel less than about. And
Right.
so,
Certainly, if he's speaking like this, he's probably very chauvinistic.
mhm. And do you want your daughter to grow up thinking, so what? You tell your daughter she's obviously irreplaceable, but to another man, she's going to be replaceable. And that's just the way of
Right.
life. And so, your worth is less than by your husband. Like, fuck off, dude. Absolutely not. Another great
Yeah.
example as to why absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, I have so many evidence in my single friends of why being single is very troublesome, but also like you have so much evidence in your married friends of why marriage is a headache. And honestly, just find peace with where you are.
Obviously, I've never been married, but I do think I've been in multiple relationships, sometime, long-term ones, engagements. Like, it
Yeah.
is much more troublesome to be in a relationship than it is to be single.
Absolutely. And then when you get those like you've said, you've been in long-term committed relationships. The only difference is you didn't have a court document that legally said you were bound to each other. I honestly suggest there are some like tax benefits and like you can get each other's health insurance, but other than that, marriage is kind of
I got my own health
pointless.
insurance.
Right.
Like, it would just take so much for me to truly, and like, deep down, I would like to have a successful romantic relationship, marriage or not. Like, that doesn't,
Yeah.
it kind of matters to me because I've never been married before. However, it honestly sounds like a mess. People change up all the time. Shit, if you don't, if you change up and my new version of myself in alignment with a new version of yourself, like, it's really likely that I may leave. I have a history of leaving relationships when they just become too much. And
As you
I,
should.
yeah, I don't feel bad about it. So, yeah, this woman should definitely sign those papers as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Be done.
On that topic, I wanted to ask you, there's people I know of, I'm not necessarily close with, that have been with someone since they were in like junior high school and they're married today in their 30s. Do you think, because you got to go through so much growth from junior high school to your 30s, did
Mhm.
they truly grow together, or is there are they just still together because that's all they've ever known? Or I mean, I guess I should ask these people but that's a question in my mind, is like, did you consciously make an effort to grow together, or are you just staying together because that's what you
I
think you have to do?
Gosh, like, a
Or
part
did
of
you not
your
grow at all?
right, a part of your inner child is embedded in who they are and vice versa. So it
Yeah.
goes beyond just this adult romantic relationship. I don't I I guess I had these patients the other day, and they've been married for 63 years,
Wow.
and the husband had a stroke, and the wife is like, "I don't know what to do." I mean, they're old, right? And I had to give her education on the Foley he's taken home, on his peg tube, on and she is so overwhelmed. And then she, not only with the physical things that she has to do for him now, she also said, "He's taken care of me my whole life. I've never had to lift a finger to do anything. And he's also my middle school sweetheart. I have never known life without him, and I'm losing him, and I have to also take care of him." And the role, like, I just felt like this fear and dread from her, and this pain of losing, like, I couldn't imagine. Like, I don't know, the hopeless romantic in me loves these stories of people that known each other in middle school, and, like, no one knows you deeper or better than them. They've seen every
Absolutely.
stage of your whole entire life. They've seen you as a child, as a mom, as a prom date, as, a college student. Like, I don't know. Like, your whole identity is embedded in them.
Yeah. You wouldn't know anything else or want to know anything else.
Yeah. I don't want to say I'm envious of those people that stay together, because I know a lot of that is the old
Putting up with
school
stuff.
patriarchal system. Yeah. But some of the older people that I've met, they have such beautiful stories of, like, true love and just
Yeah.
being so sweet and serving each other in ways, and being calm and patient and kind to each other. And I think regardless of what stage you meet somebody in life, like, that's how they should be treating you. But
Yeah. And I've
yeah.
met many older couples that they have been through their tough times, but they're towards their end of life and all they have to say is positive things about that.
Yeah. I
And I mean,
remember.
I guess if you can end your life feeling positively about it,
Mhm.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I remember this other old lady, though, on the flip side of that. She was, like, in her late 90s, and, we talked, and she opened up to me about her husband. He was abusive and, like, all these things. And I was like, "How did you even overcome that? How did you?" She's like, "That's just the way it goes." And anything negative that ever happened, she's like, "That's just the way it goes, and you gotta do what you gotta do." And I'm thinking, like, how sad is that? So I gotta keep my mouth
Yeah.
shut, because this is just the way it goes, just for the sake of saving face. Like, mm.
But there are people that were raised that way that truly believe that like that's a
Sh
normal
oh,
relationship and that's how every relationship will be.
well, no, that was the thing. Like, it wasn't a norm, like, she didn't romanticize it. She knew it wasn't normal. She
Mm.
knew he
Okay.
traumatized her. She was
Mm.
very aware of how that, her children were impacted and how she was impacted, and she just seemed like the light was gone in her eyes, and she was just kind of very flat, but, like, just so, I don't, just so broken, but also really strong at the same time, for going through all that with this husband. She was married, she said, for like 60 something years. And so, is it, I don't know, I guess you got to pick your hard. It's hard to
Yeah.
stay, but it's also hard to leave. Well, I mean, a lot of times back in the day, what would they have done? What would she have done?
Right. Like back in her day, she couldn't have got a mortgage in her own name, a credit card in her own
Right.
name. Like it was hard for women to be independent.
Yeah. I just, I think about that lady often, how I'm never going to be her.
That's good.
This one, am I the asshole for basically telling my in laws, "This is my house. If you don't like my rules, get out"? First off, I don't think I was wrong, which has infuriated my girlfriend. I, 25, recently moved into my house. My girlfriend, 27, and I had a little housewarming. Her family, my mother, and a few friends. We were eating outdoors, and the kids had their own table. My girlfriend's nephew, 8, knocked over a jug of Duluth. I was at the table. I think, for listener purposes, I think this is the one that, yeah, they're from the UK. So a couple things that I
Okay.
say you might not, if you don't understand, it's because they're from the UK. So They knocked over a jug of Duluth. I was at the table when it happened, and it was clearly an accident. He was very polite and apologized. He was a little upset, but I just laughed it off. His father came over, and I was shocked at how much his father gave out to him. I told him it was only an accident, etc., and he kept going. I felt really guilty for not stopping it. He ran over to the corner of the garden and started crying. His father went back to the table, and he said that what happened, and his wife said he deserved it. He should stay there a long time or something along those lines. There was almost a snigger from the other of her family, which I think that means, I don't know if they were like talking about it
Other
or
family
gossiping.
members.
Yeah. Anyway, I went over to the boy a couple minutes later. I gave him a chocolate bar. He was still crying. He said sorry again. I gave him a high five and taught him this high five I used to do as a kid. His mother came over and said, "Do you mind not talking to my son? He needs to think about what he's done wrong, and he needs to be alone to do that." I took her and her husband aside and said, "This is my house. If you want to be upset, if you want to upset your kid, don't do it here. If you don't like it, get out." I swear the reaction that followed was insane. They went back to the tables, I guess repeating what he said. My mother
Mhm.
said, my mom said, and then parentheses, never holding back, "I did raise a great son. He's spot on not to let bullies in his house," which erupted even more. My girlfriend spoke to me in private and asked me to apologize to them. I said no. I stand by what I said, and this part I regret a bit. I told her I think less of her for even asking me to apologize. A mate of mine and his son kicked a ball with the boy and I. He actually gave me a hug. I don't do hugs. At the end of the party, he said sorry again. He hugged me so tightly for a couple of seconds. I really could go on about the drama, but in short, her family thought I was wrong. I was getting little digs, etc. My girlfriend's friend came up to me privately and said I was right to step in. My girlfriend is still pushing me to apologize. I still don't think I did anything wrong. I didn't tell them how to parent, but told them to leave if that's how they want to parent. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't say this. I'm not sure I'd want a kid with a family like that.
Hmm.
Aggressive over spilled fucking flavored water. Wow. Wow. And then there must have been a little update. Wow, there's so many messages. Apologies, but I can't respond to all. Some of the common answers to responses. Agreed. What must they be like in private? Snigger is a word, at least in the UK. My mother is the best mother any kid could have had. Yeah, it puts a big hole in my future with my girlfriend.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts as a parent.
I don't feel like you
It
should
did
shame your children over spilled milk in private or in front of anybody else.
they
Um,
chained him?
hmm? Shame.
Shamed. Okay, sorry.
I mean, girl, my kids make messes all the time. And especially I think it's a little bit different like okay, they witness this boy make a mistake and spill this juice. And then instantly like he got yelled at for it. It's just like it's not that big a deal like, "Oh, are you okay? Be more careful, let's just clean it up." Like we make mistakes, we clean them up and we learn from our mistakes or whatever, just be more mindful of your surroundings. Like it's not that big a deal. And really, that don't even need to be all said. It's just like you made a mistake. It ain't that it's not that big a deal. I mean, when my kids make
Yeah,
messes
I agree
around,
that their parenting wasn't good, but do you like, as a parent, if you chose to discipline your child that way, would you have been open to someone coming and telling you your parenting is wrong?
I guess it depends on the person. I think I took advice from like people older than me. I thought maybe we're wiser. And it was almost never in the moment though. Like this was very much in the moment. So
Yeah,
things were already
heated.
yeah. But I just don't agree with what the parents did. because this kid was young
No,
and
I
it was
don't either.
so it's hard for me to see things from their perspective, but like with anything, mm, they must have been really mean to their kid because just the way that
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
just the way that
For
they
him to
reacted,
step in like
yeah,
that.
the mom reacted. She was like, "Yeah, we don't raise bullies." So it doesn't
I
sound like
love
they
that.
I know. So it doesn't sound like they had a lot of patience and understanding with like an 8-year-old boy's behavior, which they make mistakes, they spill shit. Okay, just
Yeah.
here's a towel, clean it up, like clean up your
He
mess.
said he was sorry. Like, that's
Yeah.
fine.
You don't need to berate him for doing something so simple. I mean, my son leaves messes around all the time. Hey, pick your shit up. He
Yeah.
don't feel shamed for it. Like he knows what his responsibilities are. You make a mess, you clean it up. It doesn't need to be
Yeah.
this thing where so you're literally grow into this adult that is constantly apologizing, constantly trying to people please. You're walking on eggshells around your romantic partner because you were constantly screamed at as a kid. You know what I mean? Like that's how I see it. Like stemming from
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
No.
yeah. And that's the way I would look at it too. I'm like, oh, this not only is this wrong in the moment, but this is going to instill some really bad behavior. And, but I just don't know if he should have corrected the parents there. I think maybe after you could have said, hey, the way you treated your child made me uncomfortable. And I would appreciate it if you didn't exhibit that behavior in the future at my house. But unless they were like physically harming the child,
Mhm.
I definitely it's emotional abuse and I get that, but I don't know that I would feel comfortable like calling them out in that moment. I don't know. Would you call someone out in that
I
scenario?
think it's situational. I got a problem with people being emotionally abused. I think I may be triggered. Like if it was somebody younger than me and not I you wanna know what I hope for? I hope that this little boy witnessed this man sticking up for him, and so now he's gonna hopefully have this core memory of the way my parents treat me didn't feel good, and the way that I was just seen as a kid making a mistake by this person that's really I'm not that close with, made me feel like it's okay to make mistakes, like, maybe he was
Yeah.
wrong for saying something to these kids' parents because it's not his kid. They can I guess they can cause trauma because it's their right. You know, it's messed up to say that, but,
Yeah.
I mean, this person
I don't think he should have to apologize for what he said. I don't think what he did was necessarily wrong, but I don't know if it was the time and the place. I don't know. That's a hard one.
gosh, I mean, like, he nipped it in the bud quick. He was like,
Yeah.
"You're overreacting. You're just we're at a family get together. Your kid made a mistake. Let him go out and play and have fun. Like, this is a very joyful time for everybody. He doesn't need to be like, it doesn't need to be this big thing." So maybe it was a good learning
Yeah.
lesson for the parents and the kid, and, you know, I just
Yeah.
don't disagree with them because I guess I'm always kind of been here for the drama, but
I know when you were reading it, I was like, "Oh, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall during
yeah,
this."
yeah.
But and I will say, like, there were so many times as a child, I was desperately wanting another adult around to be like, "Hey, this is not appropriate. Like, you
Mhm.
are emotionally abusing this child. Like, you need to stop." And nobody ever did. And so I I applaud him for that.
Yeah.
But I think I've also been in situations around my friends or past friends with their children where they've popped off and I think I immediately freeze and I'm like, okay, this is not okay. This is making me uncomfortable. But I haven't always said something to them because
Mhm.
I'm like, is this the battle I'm gonna choose? I don't know. Is this a I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, and I haven't been the perfect parent. I popped off at my kids for sure. And it's usually having to repeat myself over and over and over and over again. And then they do something that's the same shit, and so they get, I pop off at them. But like literally over little messes that they make accidentally, no.
Yeah.
You got bigger fish to fry.
Seems seems like an excessive response.
And also, I'll also mention, if this person, this 25-year-old guy, if he's not a parent, I could see how it would be very hard for these people with kids. Be like, you're not even a fucking parent. Like, you don't even know what it's like to have kids. Like, but so I could see that from their perspective.
Yeah, and I think that's why I've struggled with saying things in the past, because I'm like, I'm not a parent. Like, yeah, as an observer, I feel like this is not okay. But
right. But we've all had parents
I also,
too. So then again, like, it's all just human based.
we've
Like,
all been kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one.
It is.
Okay, so this next one is a heavy one. Trigger warning for sexual assault. So if you are not in the mind space to hear that, skip this. This is our last one. But this one I very much related to, and although it's heavy, I think it's worth talking about. So this person asks, am I the asshole for being relieved that my rapist killed himself? I don't know if this person gives their age, but it says, I feel so guilty right now. I wish I was sad that he died, but I'm not. And it's actually killing me. I'm grieving over it, but I'm not sad. So he's 3 years older than me, and he had a routine of sexually assaulting me when he was 10 years old. So she must have been 7. Oh, and she was 6. Sorry, her writing is very all over the place. He would do it every time I went to his house. He would find places to do it. I tried to push him away. I ran and cried. Did it in places that she couldn't escape. I'm trying to summarize because she does some details. I would constantly tell him to stop. She also ended up getting a bad infection from it. Years later, she is diagnosed with PTSD, depression, OCD, all stemming from this trauma. Imagine, rightfully so.
Yeah.
And so then she said she saw him again on Christmas with his family. Sorry, it broke up here. And he seems to have forgotten what had happened. She said, I didn't hate him at all because we were all stupid kids and he was just being a dumb kid. He didn't forget it. He told me straight to my face and made a joke about raping me when I was a child in front of my own sister. He said, I remember being super P. Diddy when you were little. What the fuck?
Did it say how old these people are
It
now?
doesn't say how old she is now.
Okay. So maybe it's like a
So I
cousin
don't,
or something.
it might be.
Mhm.
Those were his last words to her until months later, her parents told her that he shot himself. She said, I was angry, upset, but a small bit of me felt guilty and relieved. We went to his funeral 2 weeks ago. I hate myself and I never wished death on him, but I was relieved because we were supposed to be in a hotel together with his parents, though it got canceled because he killed himself. My parents don't even know he was the one who did it. So they must have known someone was doing it, but not specifically that it was him. She's absolutely not the asshole. I
No,
have
because go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say I have on multiple occasions Googled to see if my biological father was, there I go laughing again. Jesus.
Yeah.
If my biological father has died, like I often look for his death certificate to find relief. And not that I like necessarily wish death on him, because honestly, I know that living with what you did is probably way worse. But I know that when that day comes, I will have a new level of peace that I've never experienced before.
Mhm. And that's understandable. And this girl she expresses her conflicting feelings. Like, she feels relieved, but also feels guilty about feeling relieved because she knows, she doesn't wish death upon him, and she probably knows that his death impacted his family, and a lot of people are very
Yeah,
sad, so she feels for them. This poor girl.
I
I
know. I feel bad for her that she's even feeling bad about feeling relieved. Like, she also expresses that she has grief about it, but
Mhm.
no,
But
girl, that
fuck him
relief
for
is
making that
fine.
yeah, fuck him for making that comment. Obviously, as children, I mean, he was 10 years old. He was a kid too. If maybe he was sexually assaulted.
Certainly. Yeah, that's
And
very likely.
and I mean, suicide is terrible, obviously. So that's too bad. God, shame on her parents for not knowing or not asking her. She said they knew what happened, but didn't try to dig deeper into who it was. Like, there's a lot of
I
holes
guess.
in this story
Yeah.
that I wish we had answers to. But I think that she should. I think that she should tell her parents who it was.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure her parents would probably be relieved as well. It sounds like this person is definitely either a close family friend or a relative. From what it
Mhm.
sounds like, she didn't specifically say he's a relative, but
They were
yeah, I
about to
think,
go in a hotel room and
yeah,
stay.
so they must be very close.
Mhm.
I
Mm.
feel bad for her, but she's definitely not the asshole.
No, she's not the asshole at all. I think, like, we feel how we feel. We're not necessarily wrong for feeling a certain way, and I don't think that it's anybody's right to try to change her perspective either. She was hurt by this
Yeah,
person, and it's okay. And just because people die, it doesn't change the effect that they had on you.
definitely. Well, that's all I've got for today. Sorry to end on a heavy one.
That's okay. I mean, these are just real life situations people deal with. I mean, it's on Reddit for
Everyday
the world to
stuff.
see, so, uh, yeah. And we hope something resonated with you. That's great. And this is a safe space for anybody going through whatever you're going through. And I mean, we're just all humans trying to figure out this whole experience here on Earth. So,
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for listening this week. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Share us with people you love. Namaste.
namaste.